last week. What is it like adjusting to Sluka in the backfield or Zoe in the backfield?
You know, I think I'm trying to think of how to answer this question. For us, it's really not much of an adjustment. You know, we have a job to do, and it's not within our power to, decide who we want in there or not. You know, we trust whoever goes in there can make plays. We trust our coaches' decisions. And if I got to run a route, I got to run a route. You know, it doesn't matter who's back there. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter what any position is back there. We have a job. Whoever they put in and trust to put in there, we got to do a job.
You guys had moments tonight where it seemed the offense was clicking, and then other times where your defense seemed to kind of swarm around and slow you guys down. What were you seeing out of them that limited you guys?
You know, I think it was more. I don't know. I can't even comment. You know, people would like to say. I can only comment really on the secondary. Obviously, I know. Some cases where you were running by people. Quarterback gets sacked. But you can't really tell until you watch the film what it really was. I think our front seven has some things to work on. I think that we definitely, as receivers and QBs, have things to work on, and that's the nature of the beast. We knew we were better than this team. We were better than this team. We shot ourselves in the foot. We were 100% better than this team, and that's why this one hurts.
After they scored on that strip sack and you guys went back downfield and went for it on that fourth down where Zoe targeted you, what kind of happened throughout that play? What did you see from that caused it to not work out?
Which play are we talking about after?
When you guys went for it on fourth down and Zoe targeted you downfield.
I don't quite remember which play you're talking about, but if you're talking about the strip sack where they scored or after that?
After that.
Listen, we could say 1,000 different things about that. We just have to collectively just operate as an offense and check the film and get better. And then if we come in that situation next game, we just got to hit on it.
What were you seeing from their defense as the game went on? You guys came out in that second drive and scored that touchdown and maybe slowed down a little more as the game went on.
At least as a wide receiving core, we were running by those guys. Those guys couldn't hold us at all. And then I think out of the first half, they started to press a little bit. Then they quickly got out of that because they knew they couldn't do that either. And we had good momentum, and it all just boils down to keeping that and, doing our assignments and doing our jobs. And we got to take this loss with humility, but also confidence that we can get better.
You mentioned this one being a harder one to take, knowing that you were better than this team tonight. What do you go into the bye week now looking to improve on and making sure, what's your focus at going into this next week?
Just like the focus is every week, it's just be sound in everything. You have a job to do. Like we just mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter who's out there or who the coaches choose to put out there. We all have a job, and we all matter. And so if we can do that job and not get it wrong and be so consistent, we have the talent to beat anybody in the country. And so that's kind of what it boils down to. Just take this with humility and just work.
The safety room we talked about got all the turnovers last week. What did it feel to get another one tonight on that strip sack early in the game?
Yeah, obviously it felt good. Felt like we had some momentum going in. Obviously want to get more takeaways as the game goes on, and I feel like we had the opportunity to do that and we didn't capitalize on it. But any takeaway is a good takeaway, but we definitely should have more today.
I know we talked a little bit with you for the defense and Chesney about the explosive playability of Louisville. Is that something that was kind of in the back of your mind during this game? I know Isaac Brown had that long touchdown run towards the end of the game that kind of put it away, but is that something you guys are sort of thinking about the whole time, that they could end up making a play like that?
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, they have, obviously some big guys on their team, with their running back, obviously number 0 on the outside and, Lacey on the slot. So, obviously, they have the potential to hit big plays, and we knew they were going to try to do that. So, really going into is all about formation rack, making sure that he can't hit the over routes and all that stuff. But, I think we got a little bit complacent at the end, and that's why they hit us on the long run. But, only having 2 X plays in a game like this when they have big-time plays like that all the time, it's not bad, but we got to be better.
What's the defensive delay game plan?
So we use a move call, which moves the D lineman from one thing to another, and I guess they were making an unfootball play towards the line of scrimmage is their explanation. I don't get it at all, but that's what happened. So.
You mentioned potentially getting complacent there at the end when Brown broke off to that big run. How much can a moment like that not necessarily impact you even in the game since it did happen late, but impact you guys as a defense moving forward and making sure those moments don't happen again?
Yeah, it's almost like a gut punch. It just takes your wind out of your sails. Having that late in the game obviously is not what we wanted. You saw what we did for the first basically 3 quarters of it. But something like that can always be corrected and fixed. You know, obviously something happened where someone missed a gap or something, but you know, we had an opportunity to keep it at a one-score game, and we should have done that. But it is what it is. Got to clean it up.
Coach mentioned that he does think that this bye week right now is coming at a good time for you guys to help kind of build off of what this loss ended up being. How are you feeling knowing that you have now this week to learn, grow from before turning it around and going into Liberty?
Yeah, I think this loss is going to sit with us for a little bit, and I think it's only going to turn into something greater for the end of it. Obviously, we have a lot to learn from this game with penalties and run fits and everything that's going to go on. I know our offense is going to come out and they're going to be electric when we come back out versus Liberty. And our defense, we're going to have a chip on our shoulder because there's no way we should give up that many points against a team of that nature. Obviously, they're a good team, but we're going to have some stuff coming out of this bye week.
You know, from our vantage point, it looked like at times that their quarterback Miller Moss was getting a little, you know, frustrated with what you guys were able to do. You getting back there and putting pressure. Was it noticeable that their offense was starting to struggle a little bit with how to defend you, or even defend you guys coming at them?
Yeah, no doubt. We had a lot of bullets this week, and we executed those bullets early. And I thought we did a great job pressuring the quarterback. We did a great job stopping the run early. They had a couple, you know, third down, obviously some scramble plays, which we got to clean up. But, yeah, you can tell when the offense is kind of like, what's going on here. But Hitch has done a great job with making sure that the stuff that we have in gets executed the right way versus any formation. And there's more to come still, so.